Oh, there she is.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Howdy. Well, not everybody's here yet, but
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi. So is it working?
Yeah, we're live.
yeah,
Oh,
so far.
hi. Oh, geez. Yeah, I actually just saw the YouTube notification pop up on my phone.
So can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I guess Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jessica. Thanks for
Jessica, cool.
joining
Hi.
us. Yeah. It's so nice to have you here with us, everybody. And Shyla, my goodness.
Yeah.
We'll give everybody a little bit to join us and then we'll start talking.
Yeah. Okay.
There's two.
Well,
Cool.
at least
Hi,
you get to
Winbun.
test it out.
Yeah. Yeah. We're trying StreamYard this time. And it was fairly easy to figure out and use. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, they're coming in.
Yeah, Germany. My goodness, all over the world. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And our daughter Shyla. This is our daughter Shyla. It's been a
Hi.
while since anybody has. Merry
Yeah,
Christmas to all of you.
Yes.
I look a
Yeah.
lot older
Now-
now since the last time I did a video with you guys.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
How long
Hi,
has it been?
Monica. Oh, it's been years, I think.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to all of you in the chat and who are watching. Texas, yeah. So we got a lot joining us.
Did you dress up? Because I'm just in like basically my pajamas still.
I
feel
didn't
very
dress up.
underdressed.
Yeah. Maybe because his flannel shirt looks Christmassy.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I am wearing a Christmas shirt I got though.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got this
Merry
for my
Christmas.
best friend.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, can you see the chat, Shyla, or are you just on your phone?
I'm just on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's limited. But if I was on my laptop, I probably could see the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a lot joining us from all over the world. I mean, Belgium, Sweden, Germany, Pennsylvania.
United States.
Well,
Many are saying hi, Shyla.
hi.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to all of you.
Yeah, Merry
My
Christmas.
goodness.
Happy holidays and happy whatever holiday you celebrate at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Guy. Hi, all of you. My goodness. Thank you for joining us. And for those of you who are new, this is our daughter, Shyla, who hasn't done a video in quite a while. And she's agreed to help us out with figuring out how to add others to our live stream.
Kind of what this is all about right now. Just trying to figure out this whole system.
Yeah, it's all new technology to me, but it's like, welcome to the 21st century, right?
Well, it's still above my pay grade.
Well, and like you finally have decent internet.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, that has been preventing us all this time, and nothing else was available out here. I mean, all the other main, companies, Xfinity, you name it, they just did not come out here. And thanks to the new Jupiter 3 from this other company, we have satellite now.
Yeah.
Hello,
Awesome.
everybody. Love to all of you also in the chat. My goodness. A lot of hi, Shyla. Hi, Shyla. Hi, Shyla. Merry Christmas.
I wish I could see the chat, but you'll just have to tell me.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Yeah.
Bulgaria. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, my goodness.
People from all over
Vancouver.
the world. Come
Yeah,
to see
Florida.
our internet test, our internet and live stream test.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed right now.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, there's 35 who have joined us, so that's not too many. Yeah. And hello, everybody. Yes, I'm trying to, keep up with the chat, but it's like, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas and happy holidays.
Yes. And can everybody hear us okay? Hello from the UK, British Columbia.
You really don't need to worry about it until somebody says hello from Mars or Venus or Jupiter.
Hey, that's not a bad thing. That it just
Then-
shows
then
that
we
you
know
guys are now broadcasting to the universe.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas,
absolutely.
everybody. All right.
Yeah.
Hello from Earth.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello, Orel. Don't want to forget you.
Nope, we won't forget you.
Merry Christmas, everybody. And thank you for joining us with our test here to see if we can add others to our live stream.
Well,
And thanks to our.
I think it's a good test so far.
Yeah,
Well, it's kind of a preamble for a happy hour, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. We're drinking tea because it's morning.
A little
So,
too early for that peanut butter whiskey.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. We used to do a happy hour years ago, didn't we? As a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Years ago, we did.
Yeah. Well, I guess now you guys can go live. We can do a live happy hour.
Yeah. Or else is Mikey still alive after German liquor? Yeah, that stuff. We even had our kids smell it yesterday when they were here, and oh my goodness, it's potent stuff.
Orel, forget the liquor. It's all that damn chocolate you sent. I'm still high from all that chocolate.
Good chocolate. I typically don't like milk chocolate, but I could. It was German chocolate, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I could the German chocolate was really good. I can't even stand like American milk chocolate. It's gross.
Yeah.
But that stuff was actually really good.
Yeah. Actually, I should thank everybody so much for the cards.
Yeah.
We got a few more, and
Yeah.
all of the gifts and your generosity and all the love. And we just really appreciate it. Or else is next time he'll send a full barrel.
Yeah. I'll be holding my breath.
Hello, all of you who have just joined us. This is our daughter, Shyla.
I was just going to say, I took a sniff of that alcohol in the little flask, and I'm like, wait, is this like kerosene? Like, it was so strong smelling.
I know. I know it. We'll have to try it. But hello, everybody. Welcome. Positive vibes. Hello, Shyla. I'm in my PJs and no makeup, just like families do. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this Christmas day.
Yeah, here it's still morning. It's 11 a.m. So it's still morning here in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Kind of windy, cold.
Oh, it's very cold.
A couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of good because the dogs aren't tracking in as much mud right now.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of dogs, let me see if I can move the camera. She is very tuckered out from yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So were our two. They actually slept all night.
Yeah. Yeah. The kids came out yesterday and we had our family Christmas yesterday. It was a lot of fun. And for those of you who are new to this channel, we got two puppies that are brother and sister. And then our kids got Mira there. You just saw Mira on the floor, who is their sister. Right. So when the three of them get together, it is fun. And oh my God, what a mess. There was mud everywhere because we had gotten snow and rain the past couple of days before that.
Yeah, so the three dogs are from the same litter.
Hey, Mira.
Hey there, Grandma.
Mira. Are you tired?
Yeah, as soon as we got home, she ate dinner and then she went and jumped on the bed and went to bed.
Yeah.
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 Okay, you can go back, take your nap. Go take your nap.
Hello and Merry Christmas, everybody in the chat. We appreciate you joining us.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Non-snowy Ohio. You guys don't have snow? Oh my goodness. That's unusual. We'll send you some. How's that?
Yeah, we got a whole mountain full of it now.
Yeah. It's mostly melted here because we were getting mostly rain, but it's
Yeah.
cold and windy. Yeah. Yeah.
She's
Glad
better.
you made it live stream. Got to do live stream.
Yep.
So, do you want to tell all those that have known you for years, Shyla, when you used to do videos, no pressure? Would you like to just talk about what you've been up to? You're still working as a professional sign language interpreter.
Yeah, I'm still working as a sign language interpreter. I'm actually working in K-12 now, so I mainly work at the high school level, and I actually enjoy it a lot. Like I feel that's my little place to be. But yeah, I've been working and I'm on break for 2 weeks now. So my plan is just to keep doing stuff for my dream. But yeah, I mean, since I stopped doing videos, I just really focused on healing and finding myself and figuring out who I am, because with the cult and all the hey, give me that. Nope, nope. Sorry. Dog had something. Yeah, and just focused on healing, and I went back to school and got my bachelor's degree. Just and have been busy. And yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a wild ride. A lot of unexpected twists and turns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
No, you're not jumping up there. This is Freya. Come on.
She's a brat.
Yeah. It's funny.
Let me write that down. Stay true.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh?
Hello, everybody in the chat. Merry
Mm.
Christmas. Thanks for joining us. We're talking to our daughter Shyla here.
So I don't know. Did you want me to say anything else?
It's up to you. What do you want to talk about? Because I know it's been a difficult, year and a half for you.
Oh, yeah. So I guess you wanted me to tell people about that, huh?
Well, I think it's good, because most of us who, are here are ex-JWs, and we know what it's like growing up in the cult.
Yeah.
And it's extra hard if you have any, special needs or anything like that. So, whatever you feel comfortable talking about.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm actually very comfortable with talking about the diagnosis that I got recently, because it brings awareness. And the more that people know, the more they'll know, and it starts changing their worldview. Because, like, for myself, yeah, it was life changing. So just as a little background, like, all my life I have felt different, like I don't fit in, and then add on top of that the cults, and having to lock your true self away for survival and self-preservation, being in a doomsday cult. So part of my healing journey actually led me to getting a formal diagnosis of being autistic in October. And it was earlier this year. I think it was towards like the middle to end of January of 2023 that I really started suspecting, and I had hints here and there. I actually last year I worked with a young child at the elementary level, female, a girl who is autistic, and it was difficult for me because I realized, like, seeing her was a tiny reflection of myself. And that's when I really started to like question, like, oh my gosh, am I autistic? And then, thanks to social media and other neurodivergent people, because neurodivergent is just like that umbrella term for people who are autistic, ADHD, ADHD, any kind of neurodivergency. And it was because of those people who were sharing their stories that I started watching the videos and stuff. And then, of course, like, so much research. Oh my God, so much research. And I had self-diagnosed, but then, I thankfully have the privilege of having insurance, and I was able to find a place for me to get tested. And then it was interesting because the more I researched it, the more I was sharing with James, that's my husband, for those who don't know, also ex-cult member. So the more I was sharing with him, like, he started to realize too, and he actually got diagnosed being autistic as well, and bipolar and complex PTSD. So needless to say, like, that whole process it's been a struggle. It's been hell going through that, but it's also just something incredibly valuable to me, because I've been able to start unmasking and realizing how much I had to mask my autism, mask myself. And yeah, and especially being in a cult, that does not respect or honor neurodivergent people, let's face it. Um, so when I say it's been a wild ride, it has been a wild ride. But at least I have the answers now, of why I don't fit in, why I'm so different, why I have the issues and struggles that I do. And yeah, a big part of the unmasking has just been finally just saying no to the things that don't serve me. And there's a lot of people now who, are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, who are now being diagnosed with these neurodivergencies, because we were just all overlooked. Because, growing up in the 80s and 90s, girls were not autistic. And so, like, like on social media and stuff, a lot of us who are doing videos and stuff on our autism and our experiences, we kind of call ourselves the lost girls, because we are a lost generation of females who are neurodivergent, that have been overlooked, and we have just been putting that mask on to pretend to be normal, or neurotypical is the term. So
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people saying hello,
Yeah.
very
yeah.
brave. Hello from all over the world. Feliz Navidad. Um, Jennifer, my son is 9 with high functioning autism. My husband has ADHD. Lots of love, Shyla.
Yeah,
And
thank
that's the
you.
thing is, they consider your spectrum high functioning.
Yeah. So, see, and it's just, I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, but I think now that some of us high functioning autistic people who are able to communicate verbally or in writing, or at least being able to express ourselves, I'm hoping, and my goal is that we're going to start influencing like the medical professions. Because, like, in my case, like, right now I am talking, I am able to communicate, and I don't appear to be autistic for the most part. At least I don't think I do. Maybe I do. I don't know, because I honestly don't know what I look like. um but now put me in another situation and I go completely nonverbal. I start rocking. I start uh oh, what's the term? Well, I start stimming, or self-regulating is, like, I guess, the correct term. I start self-regulating. So, like, right now I'm high functioning and, can act normal, but then, even just paying bills, our monthly bills is a struggle, because that's something that, I struggle with, and I start stressing out, and like my autism really starts coming out. So
Yeah.
so anyway, the whole thing is like, autism is a spectrum, and like the most recent research that I had looked at is they're looking more of like, instead of like a linear spectrum, they're looking at like a circle spectrum. And it just depends on where the person is, like if I'm in just a very small, intimate group, I'm fine. But if I'm in like a crowded room with a lot of noise and visual stimulation and auditory stimulation, like I shut down. So in that situation, I'm not high functioning. I'm very low functioning, but in other situations, I am high functioning. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clear as mud. No, I'm just
Yeah.
teasing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does make sense. And the thing is growing up in Jehovah's Witnesses, and I know a lot of other religions are the same way. I mean, over the years, I've gotten so many emails from parents and adults who have been, their kids have been diagnosed with autism or they have autism. And it is such a huge spectrum, but they
Mhm.
almost all say the same thing. In fact, just last week, I think it was, I got an email from an autistic person, and their JW family was telling them that they're demonized. And that's
Mhm.
been a very common theme. And, this is why religion can be so damaging,
Yeah.
because it, I don't like to use the word ignorant, but let's face it, a lot are
Ignorance.
ignorance, and
Mhm.
it's an ignorance because they don't want to try to understand, what that person is dealing with. They just want to label them with, just slap a label on that. It's like, oh, well, you're demonized. It's like,
Yeah.
no, there's some certain things that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And, you even mentioned that it could be a generational thing, autism, which
Yeah.
means you probably got it from one of us or both. And we kind of both have symptoms.
Well, do you remember years ago we did that video of that lady that was studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, and she had an autistic child, and the JW said, "Well, just wait for the new system, and Jehovah will fix them."
Yeah.
And that woman actually viewed that as an absolute slap in the face, because
Mm.
she didn't view her child as having anything wrong, but in the minds of those JW studying the Bible, that child has a problem and Jehovah's going to fix it.
Yeah.
Which, in a lot of senses, if you grow up in this cult, you tend to regulate any problematic children to, well, Jehovah will fix it in the new system, and then that child doesn't get the attention that it deserves as it's growing up.
And
Yeah.
like you mentioned, the 80s and 90s, it really wasn't a thing, because
Yeah.
when you were growing up as a young child, it never dawned on us that this wasn't normal. You hauling everything out of the dresser drawers, everything out of the
Exactly.
kitchen cabinets. I don't mean to embarrass you, but I mean, we never saw it as one of the
Yeah.
symptoms, and
Yeah.
so because you were high functioning, it never dawned on us to get you tested for any of this.
And look at how Watchtower helps a parent shy away from getting a child tested, because, well, you don't want to go to a psychologist, because
Yeah.
once that
Mhm.
psychologist diagnosed perhaps part of the problem is your religious structure, well, then that goes
Yeah.
against what Watchtower teaches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really, you're kind of like in a no-win situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the whole thing too is there's just been such a stereotype and a stigma around people who are autistic, because and I was the same way, because I had this image of a white boy, rocking in a corner, humming, banging his head on the wall, who's obsessed with trains. Like that is the mental image that I had, and I know a lot of people have that same image too. Um and unfortunately, back in that time, it was it was where we were at because people didn't understand the neurodivergency. And there is one thing that I want to mention. My cat obsession that I have had my entire life is my trains. Also my obsession with Godzilla. Like also like on social media there's a lot of people talking about like, oh, you don't think your grandmother is autistic? What about her collector plate collection that she's hanging on the wall that you are not allowed to touch? Like that is a perfect example of autism because you just have these, I don't want to say fixations, but you just have these things that you love so much. And yeah, so I think it's good now. And of course, there's a lot of people who are making fun of us older late diagnosed autistic people. Like there's some comedians out there that they're not funny to me because they're making fun of this, and it's like, I've gone my whole life with depression, anxiety, just hating on myself, like literally hate myself because I couldn't figure out how to live in this world. I couldn't figure out how to do things the correct way. And even as much as I tried, I just could never get it right. And then it's that mental attitude of like, you just need to try harder. You just need to try harder, that it's my fault for not getting it. And now realizing it's not my fault because, with autism, there's no cure for it. It is a brain development. And I actually don't view myself as disabled, even though, according to the world and secular society, I have a disability and I am disabled. I don't view myself as disabled because I can still live, but I have to live by my rules because this world that we live in is not made for encouraging people to be themselves. And, I honestly believe that, neurodivergency is actually what we as humans should be. But we've just all been programmed to fit into this box via what society does, what religion does, and how you are programmed. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And if you deviate from that, like, you're demonized. And I think there's a lot more neurodivergent people out there than people know, honestly.
Well, I was just going to mention, I think they're the majority and that the neurotypicals are becoming the minority. Because I mean, it just seemed, all the videos you send me from TikTok, I'm watching these in YouTube, and it's like, oh my goodness, I think there's more of people like that than there are the typical, like you said, the ones that fit in the box. And I think that's the new normal.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention, thank you everybody
Yeah.
so much in the chats because they are sending you so much love and support. You can go back later, Shyla, and read the
Okay.
chat, when we're done.
Oh,
But, so
thank you.
sorry, Jennifer M. So sorry that you were treated that way. That's horrible.
Oh,
That's horrible.
I
And
can't see what it is, but I can imagine what it is.
she says, I was called a gimp and retard by my JW family growing up. I don't have a diagnosis, but I figured out it's calling stemming when son was going through diagnosis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called stemming. It's like when you move.
Yeah.
And I suspect, we've talked about this before, Shyla. We suspect that my mom,
Oh,
that
yeah.
that's probably where we get it because, I mean, she has this fetish with clothes and shoes. I mean, she has an entire walk-in closet full of shoes and clothes, but she will go and buy clothes everywhere. She doesn't care if it's new, thrift stores, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And just the fact, I've noticed some compulsive behaviors also. Because remember, she was always wiping down the countertop with bleach. I mean, just about killed me with the bleach. And I was washing her hands.
Well, not only that, she would sweep the floor with the broom and then take a plastic bag and put it around the broom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she would take like tuna and dog food cans and put them in a plastic bag and seal them up because she didn't want the garbage to smell. So,
Mm-hmm.
you start thinking about your past and some of these compulsive behaviors.
Yep.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Hello. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
My
So I,
goodness.
I do want to, was it Jennifer who made the comment? I didn't quite hear the name. It was
Jennifer
Jennifer.
M.
Jennifer M. You know what? I just want to say self-diagnosis is completely valid. And you have every right because you're the one that's living in this meat suit, and self-diagnosis is completely valid.
See, and that's one of the things that makes YouTube such a powerful tool for all of us, because you don't have just a little group of psychologists controlling
Mhm.
the narrative. This
Yeah,
narrative is everywhere, and it's available to everyone if they choose. And like
yeah,
somebody had made a comment earlier, this day and age, ignorance is absolutely a choice.
yeah.
Hello, everybody. We've got a lot joining us. Thank you for joining us on this Christmas day
Hi,
and sharing time with us. This is our daughter, Shyla, and we're
hi.
talking about autism because she was diagnosed here recently
Yeah.
with high
Mhm.
functioning autism.
Yeah,
And, our son in law, James, I mean, he's had a rough time too, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and,
Well,
go
well,
ahead.
and sorry, it's hard to like
No, go ahead.
figure out when to jump in because of the time delay. Well, because when him and I got together, he took some classes at the community college, and so he had an IEP growing up. So we requested those records, and now like looking at what it says now, okay, understand this was 80s and 90s, so the terminology used is not accurate today, but on his IEP, it said he was mildly retarded and auditory processing disorder. And
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw that, I'm like, no, you're not. Like, no,
Right.
like you don't have. I believe the current term is cognitive delay, but that might have even. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have a hard time keeping up with all the proper terms now. But anyway, but now looking back, like the auditory processing disorder, it's kind of accurate because autism is a language processing disorder. Because thankfully through my work, I've actually been able to take some classes and workshops about autism. So like I've been able to learn about it from like that standpoint, from like the teachers, the audiologists, the OTs, the therapists, what the neurotypical people are saying about it. But then it's nice because, you know, then seeing how that translate into real people and learning from other people's experiences, because it was actually from TikTok that I got, well, hearing a lot of people talking about their experiences and stuff, and it was really just like, wow, that's me, or that's not exactly me, but this is how my autism manifests itself. um but yeah, and just like dad said, it's social media, it's YouTube, it's TikTok, and people just finally expressing themselves and sharing it. And it's interesting because now I'm actually starting to see a lot of professionals, like actual scientists, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. Now they're coming out because they've been diagnosed as autistic, and now they're starting to shift their practice to start actually helping the neurodivergent community to live in a way that's more healthy for them and not so overstimulating that this world
Yeah.
creates.
Yeah. And like someone mentioned in the chat here, that autistic people have a high sense of justice and empathy. And
Yep.
that's true because, it's like, even as J Dubs, we hated injustices
Hmm.
and we hate it
Hate it
now.
now.
We hate hypocrisy. And, it's just so difficult sometimes because you just get so frustrated.
That's why we were always in trouble with the elders.
Yeah.
Because we could see how hypocritical they were, and we called it out, and we've gotten a lot of trouble because of that, because we just wouldn't
Yeah.
sit down, shut up, and listen to the people indoctrinating us.
Yeah. Thank you,
Yep.
everybody, for sharing your experiences in the chat. And Merry
And
Christmas to you, too.
once we're done with the live stream, I'll go in and read the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's on her phone. She can't see comments and this screen at the same time. But this is so nice having better internet, because now we can have live stream and we can actually see the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has somebody already made a Mikey Santa joke? If not, calling it free thinker on ice.
My beard's not long enough.
And you need a hat.
I need it. Yeah.
He needs
Yeah,
a
you
hat.
need a hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can put a red nose on our puppy and he can be Rudolph.
There you go.
Well, I did take
Zipper
some pictures of Mira with some antlers on earlier, and yeah, it was pretty cute, I'll say.
Yeah. Well, you brought the antlers yesterday when you were here for Christmas, and we tried to put on all three of them. And first thing our puppy Zip did was chomp and break one of the antlers on the little brats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just reading the chat
Nope.
here. Did you want to mention your TikTok channel where you talk about the diagnosis and this journey that you have been on?
Yeah. So yeah, I am on Instagram and I'm on TikTok now. I took a break from social media for about 4 years, but one nice thing in my unmasking journey is I am now focusing a lot more of my attention and my energy on things that make me happy. And so yeah, so my TikTok and my Instagram is Nunu Buns Studio. So it's NUNUBUNS Studio. And then I don't know when, but I will start uploading content to my YouTube channel. It's the same one that I had years ago. But now it's under Shyla Brooks, parentheses author, because I have been writing now for about a year and I'm working on a book. And, once I get the novel, which it's a sci-fi novel, once I get that ready to publish, I'm then going to start doing the audiobook myself and uploading that up to YouTube so people can at least listen to it for free. And then if they want to buy the book, they can. But I'm also going to be uploading like short stories, some of my poetry and stuff. Probably the first thing that I'm going to upload, which I'm hoping to get to do this within the next 2 weeks, since I'm on break and have the time, is it's a little short story I wrote when I got the diagnosis of being autistic, and just that emotional processing. So
yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, so my TikTok, I mostly post stuff about my autism and like art and stuff, and then once I start getting content on my YouTube channel, I'll start shamelessly doing plugs for that on TikTok. And then my Instagram is mostly going to be for sharing my art and just other stuff I create.
Yeah. ICU says congratulations on your book.
Oh, thank you. I'm so close to getting the first draft done. In fact, I was up at 5 this morning, and James and Mira were still asleep in bed, and I was working on it till about like 8:30 when he finally got up. So that first draft is so close to being done. But then, yeah, I got to go back and do a lot of rewriting, because when I started writing it versus now, like, my writing's improved, and like I go back and read some of those early chapters and I'm like, oh God, that's such crap. Like, who wrote this crap? Yeah.
Welcome everybody. We've got more joining us. Nice for you to join us. Thank you. Merry
Yeah.
Christmas. We love you
Uh,
too.
Merry Christmas. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, if you want to follow me on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, like I said, I don't know when I'm going to be getting content up on YouTube because, I still do have to work. I'm not one of those content creators who can just sit behind their computer screen all day making content. I actually still have to work a regular job.
Yeah. Yep. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all of you.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, taking time out of your holiday to spend it with us. And for all of you who don't know, this is our daughter, Shyla. I think most who have been in the community for a while know who you are. And I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it, you look like both of us, so there's no denying you.
Well, everybody got to see who you and James were when we re-uploaded that video with Lloyd Evans. What we have to say about that, we said it 9 years ago. So everybody really got to see who you and James were then that
And
hadn't,
again,
previously known.
okay, can I just interrupt for a second? That is also one thing that autistic people like what we're kind of known for is being able to recognize patterns. And yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting that, 9 years ago I picked up on those patterns and then all that drama that just came out. So,
Well, that's why he had to attack you back in 2014 because you seen the pattern and you called him out on it. And that's why he had to publicly attack you.
yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
know,
not my problem, but you know what? I am actually very glad that I got off of making videos at that point and started dwindling my time in social media because I needed to take time to heal, and find
yeah.
myself. What was that?
Nice.
Mm. Oh, someone said, nice beard, Mikey. He can walk into a Kingdom Hall now and be okay.
Well, the ponytail's got to go, but
Yeah.
I'll just
Just
put
wear
it
a
up
hat.
underneath. Actually, it allows me to do some creative combing now.
Yeah, you could be like that one brother that was in the hall, Paul, who had like half of his hair
Yeah.
was down to here and he just did this like swirl.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
In fact, when we were looking for that picture in our box of pictures yesterday, we seen the picture of that couple. And he had just woken up and his hair was all hanging down here.
Yeah,
And he was a ministerial servant.
And it kind of shocked us all because we didn't have any idea because he
Yeah.
always kept it combed and up and around here. So, I mean, it just looked normal. But that one morning, woke up, I was like, holy crap. What a shock.
yeah, it's amazing what creative combing can do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to live stream. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Positive vibes. If you go back in our channel, you'll see that Kim and I actually interviewed Jordan Maxwell years ago.
Yeah. We actually didn't put everything in that interview because we did a Skype with him for about 6 hours.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff he told us that we couldn't. He told us, don't put this in, make it public. But he was an XJW and he was Freddie Franz's security guard whenever he went to assemblies or talks or anything in California. And there were some interesting things that he told us that he saw of things that were going on, like men in suits and cigars.
Well, that's why I make comments from time to time about being behind closed doors, smoking Cuban cigars and drinking cognac.
Yeah,
because that's one of the things we had mentioned.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Of course they do, because that's what all of these rich elitists do.
That's what they all do.
Yeah.
Sit back, and then they poke fun at the rest of us because we don't have the smarts to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us are getting the education, like we've been talking about social media. It's a great way to enhance our education and do research, and I
Mhm.
know a lot of it is, not true. And, we see that a lot, just clickbait. But there is a lot that you can get from people's personal
Mm-hmm.
experiences, like
Mhm.
the autism thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
Yeah.
here's the thing is this is how I approach social media anymore. When I see something and I'm like, like if it's something that I really want to verify, I then take the time to then just go research it myself. And it's like, is what they're saying true? Because I mean, growing up in the religious cults, I learned
yeah,
when we came out that you can't just trust what people say by their word. Like, so when I started to suspect that I was autistic, yes, I was listening to people's story and, it was helping me process my internal feelings and understanding myself. But I went and researched it.
yeah,
And
it
so, I mean,
helps.
that's how you got to approach social media is you can't take everything at face value that they say because they use it for propaganda. Both sides, whatever sides, everybody has an agenda. And, they have no qualms about lying to further their agenda. So, it's up to us that when we look at social media, we have to then be like, okay, I'm going to go research that, whatever the topic is.
Yeah. Sorry, we're swatting at gnats.
Gnats,
We've
yeah.
got those little tiny gnats in here because I have a tomato plant back here.
Yeah, and the thing's got tomatoes on it. Yeah.
Wow. And here I
Yeah,
thought
I
you
take a.
were excited.
What was
Yeah.
that?
I thought you were just excited.
Yes, yes. But I take a feather to and touch each of the little buds, and now I've
Mm,
got little tomatoes. So
yeah. Nice.
yeah, yes.
Well,
Happy holidays to all of you. Yeah,
yes, I'm glad you watched that video we did, Positive Vibes, years ago with Jordan Maxwell.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that he told us we can't put out there.
yeah. And it's a shame. And we're hoping, we keep talking. I talked to Fritz Springmeyer on the phone for
Yeah.
about an hour, and he's going through some things right now. And he said to give him some time, but now that we can do live streams, we
Yeah.
definitely want to talk to him because he's another one that knows a lot about what goes on at the top. And the way we always describe it is it's like a pyramid, and all of the rank and file are at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
all the initiates and all of that, next layer are the initiates, and then it goes up to the pyramid. Excuse me. And we don't know what or who is at the top, but it's evil. It's evil.
Mm-hmm.
And, I like to picture it as having all these tentacles going off of this pyramid to all of the rank and file. And they like to use fear.
Fears, they're,
That's
yep,
that
that's it.
that is a big thing. And I know you and I have talked about this before, Shyla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Well, and the one thing that you need to try your best to understand is it's not just Watchtower. It's
no.
all of our society. It's the same process. It's the same mechanism. Because that's actually what I went to college to study was sociology to see how our social
Mm-hmm.
institutions all interact. And it's all of it. It's our media, it's our government, it's our healthcare system, it's our educational system. It
It,
everything is operating in that same pyramid fashion to where those of us on the bottom, we're so busy fighting each other, trying to survive, and those at the top are just basically feeding off of us like parasites. They're siphoning our energy, our our spirit, our creativity, because we're all just stuck trying to survive. And when you're in survival mode, you can't then get to the point to where you have self-actualization, to where you can then start creating and start living more authentically, because you're so focused on just your basic survival needs. And it's not
Yeah.
just Watchtower, it's not just religion, it's all of our social institutions in society.
Yeah, exactly. Positive Vibes is asking, is there a Zoom arrangement that we can hear what you can't share here? That might be something in the future. We're just trying to figure out how to live stream at this point because
Yeah.
we just now got better internet. Yeah.
And we would probably have to go back through what we have not made public to see what we can make public now that Jordan Maxwell has passed away.
Passed away. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do remember one thing that stuck out in my mind when we were talking to him is he said, even the mob can't own the docks there in New York.
Right.
How did Watchtower own those docks? What connections did they have? And he had a few guesses, and he pretty much knew, it was probably one or two groups, but, we'll have to go back through. Yeah. Thank you for joining all of us. We have 75 now with us, Shyla.
Hey, nice.
Yes.
That's
Love
pretty
all of
good
you.
for being Christmas Day.
I know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving up part of your day to watch this live stream. Thank you.
Yeah, and be with us.
Yeah.
But you're right. And I'm going to brag about you a little bit since I'm your mom. I can do that.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Shyla did so well in those sociology classes that her professor wanted her to go on and get her master's. And I mean, at one point, you had even thought about becoming a psychologist
Mm-hmm.
because you knew and that's the thing about autistic, because they see the patterns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can recognize, and same thing with us. I mean, we see these patterns, and we've been seeing these patterns, for the past 60 years, and we recognize it. And it's like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. It's not that we're prophets or psychic or anything. It's just we recognize these patterns.
And it's a big part of human behavior, too.
Yeah.
Because those patterns are who some people really are. They're just, you're able to see them through their behavior patterns.
Yeah. But Shyla got that so well that she graduated with honors, was on the dean's list, and I forget all the details, but I mean, you averaged almost a 4.0 grade average through all those years.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And I actually did have an opportunity last year and earlier this year. I could have applied for a master's program for like educational interpreters, but I actually decided not to pursue that because I wanted to pursue my stuff, and that is my writing and my arts and all of that. Because it was going to be a year and a half of school, and I wouldn't be able to do what I want to do. And I've put myself on the back burner for too long, that it's time that I start doing stuff for me. Because I mean, I turned 40 this year. How the hell did that happen? How am I 40? Like,
well,
right.
When we got married, we said we'd never have kids in this system because Armageddon's just around the corner. Then we had you, and then it's like, well, she'll never go to school in this system because Armageddon's right around the corner. And now here she is 40.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how in the hell did this happen?
Yeah. So, I mean, 40 years of my life, I'm not going to say wasted, because, I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't have gone through all of that stuff. But I'm done wasting time. I'm done wasting time on keeping this, I don't know, like this soul sucking system up and functioning, like because like, and this is the other thing, is no matter how much education you have, no matter how much money you make, it's never enough. It'll never
No.
be enough, and you're always going to be struggling as long as you're trying to live the way that they tell you to live, because that's what they want. Like we're slaves to them. Like we have to work and we are slaves because of we have to get this money to survive. Well, I'm I'm trying to do my best to at least make something that I can leave for the world.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I really don't have anything that I've left for the world or for future generations to be inspired by. And, even for me, like writers, authors, Edgar Allan Poe, like he's a very dark writer, but I connect to him on such a level because of him showing like the human emotion, the human experience. And even with Van Gogh, he's one of the artists that I really take inspiration from because, he struggled as an artist. And it wasn't until after he died that he then became well known. And yeah, I want to leave something good to this world and for future generations. And if I just were to go to school to get a degree so I can get more money, that like I'm not really going to see any extra money because the government takes it all with taxes and all of that stuff, and then your insurance goes up. And so it's like I want to do something for me that then could possibly help benefit future generations.
Exactly. And that's, there's nothing wrong with that. That is a good thing. And,
Well,
if you can help anyone who has difficulties and don't realize that, what, they might be autistic, and it
mhm,
helps when you get that diagnosis like you did, because then it's like, okay, this is why I do this. This is why I
mhm,
don't like crowds. This is why I don't like concerts or movie
mhm.
theaters or anything like that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
hi,
Yeah,
everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for your comments and
Yes,
all your
yes.
comments.
Yeah, the chat is just, it's going faster than I
wow.
can read it, but I know it. I know it. So
Yeah.
thank you everybody for joining us. But yeah, and that's the thing is, just finding our place. And
Mhm,
I think that's why we have lasted so long in this community and still do videos, because we see the need,
mm,
that there's so many who leave and they need help, and some just need someone to talk to. They just need a listening ear. They just need love and support.
And to confirm absolutely their suspicions.
Yeah,
mhm.
and it's like, you're not crazy, it's them.
Yeah.
We weren't crazy, we were in a cult. And
Mhm.
we talked to so many abuse victims, and I know you've even talked to some abuse
Yeah.
victims too. And it's so difficult for them because a lot of times they feel like they're the only ones. Oh, well, it's an
Mhm.
isolated case in the organization.
No.
And it's like, no, it's not. It's a systemic problem.
Yep.
And just talking to them and saying, look, you are not to blame. This was not your fault. This
Yeah.
is the cult. And the way they treat these abuse victims is horrific. It's
It's
horrific.
disgusting. It's disgusting and
Yeah.
it's victim blaming and it's gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And I think that's why we feel like we still need to be in this community, is because, I mean, I get so many emails. You know
Mhm.
how many emails I get
Oh
too.
yeah.
You just, people who just need somebody to listen to them.
Yep. Well, it's listening and it's acknowledgement. And there is one woman, I guess you could say she was like a spiritual guide. I met her a couple of years ago, and her and I were talking, and I told her, I said, people just want acknowledgement. And she said, well, there's more to it than that. She said, people want to be heard, people want to be seen, and people want to be loved.
Yeah.
And that's how like I am just approaching life anymore, that it's like, I can acknowledge you and I can acknowledge your experience, and I see what you've gone through. I've heard what you've gone through, and despite all of that, I love you, and like I'm just so proud of the people who are still here, who haven't given into that despair. And it's hard. Like that doesn't even describe, like it is the most difficult thing that you have to do, is to try to come out of that darkness of
Yeah.
abuse, and just, like I said earlier, like I would hate myself because I couldn't do it right. And it's a long, torturous journey, having to crawl your way out of that darkness to try and find yourself again. So anybody who is listening or who will see this video later on, like, just the fact that you are still here and still breathing and still fighting, like, I am so proud of you. Even though, like, we may never meet, we may never talk, but just I'm so proud of you because you're still trying. You're still doing your best to stay here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good.
Yeah.
Appreciate, you saying that, because you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. How did we have such a smart kid?
It was all you, dear. With all those herbs you took when you were pregnant,
No.
giving more oxygen to the baby.
Wow.
No, I think, it was what you did, Shyla. You have come such a long way. You've educated yourself.
So that's the
Mhm.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
Education, education, education.
Yeah.
It's
And
been
not letting
my
anybody,
healing journey.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not letting anybody try to shut that education down by saying, oh, you don't need to research, you don't need to study. Yes, we all need to do it. It's a need.
Well,
Yeah.
that is actually another nice thing about being autistic, is the PDA aspect of it. It's like the pathological defiance. I forget what the A stands for, but it's the defiance, that it's like, tell me I can't do something, and then that PDA kicks in, and I will prove you wrong. Like,
Yeah.
you tell me I can't do that? Oh, watch me prove you wrong.
Yeah. And I think that is a big part of it. It's like, oh yeah, try to control our videos in our channel. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, let me tell you how you need to do your videos, because they're not good enough. Yeah,
Yeah. Or
you see how
you
well
need to,
this worked.
oh yeah. And yet after 10 years they keep trying. It's
Right?
like,
And that just blows my mind. It's like, if they haven't caved in 10 years to do what you're telling them to do, like, you're wasting your time. Like,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
I've shared all the Bible bullies with you, and
Yeah.
thank you so much, Frank. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Thank you for your generosity. My goodness. I mean, we don't expect anybody
No,
to give us any money. We don't
That's what
do
I
this
said
for
the other
money.
day. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
But thank you. It's very much
Mm.
appreciated. And we take all of this and we'll put it in our internet fund. And if we decide to get a software like the StreamYard, their premium for, I think it's $20 a month, it will all go to that fund. We
Oh,
know
God.
Mike is not going to Thailand.
No, absolutely not. No.
I'm like,
Or
oh,
Vegas or anything.
are you
What?
planning a vacation to Thailand now?
No.
Oh my God. You said what I was thinking.
Well, the thing is I don't know how to scuba dive.
Oh my God. That could be taken so many different ways.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm not going to Thailand. Trust me. I don't like the food.
Well, not only that, but like with us being neurodivergent, we don't like traveling. Like we're very
Yeah.
much homebodies. Oh
True.
God.
True.
If I'm going to take any type of vacation, that's going to be get lost in the woods for about 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, because that's like one of the things with my unmasking is just realizing I don't like what other people like. I would much rather be outdoors with nature or at home with my family in my backyard doing stuff than going places. Because
Yeah.
humans are noisy. They are so noisy. So, like, as you know, okay, so I don't even remember the last movie I actually went to see. I mean, it's been years. And so, okay, Godzilla minus one just came out, and that's my trains is Godzilla. And so, like, I told James, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go. And he was like all excited because like I never want to go out to the theater
Yeah.
because it's so loud. So I got my earplugs, I put my earplugs in, and we watched the movie. And yeah, and I actually took the earplugs out to see if I could listen to the movie without, and it was so loud I had to put my earplugs in through the entire movie.
Yeah.
And James, he didn't have earplugs. And as soon as we got home, he had to sleep for about 3 hours because he was so overstimulated from just how loud the theater was. So we got to
Yeah.
get him earplugs now.
Maybe that's why I've come to dislike going to the theater also, because it's just so loud.
Mhm.
And here I say that when I talk loud.
Yeah. Well, and I've even noticed that like with TV anymore.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah. Well, because like even when we're watching something on TV, I have to actually put the closed captions on because there's so much other noise in like whatever we're watching that I can't hear the talking because there's music in the background or there's other noise in the background of the show and
Yeah.
I can't hear what they're saying. So I have to actually watch it with captions on so I can actually see what they're saying. And now,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because like I've worked with deaf and hard of hearing populations for like almost 20 years now, so I was like, okay, well, is my hearing going? So because that's just the first thing that I thought of. And now I'm realizing my hearing is okay. It's when there's all these other noises around, I can't process the language, and which I think is also part of why autism is a language processing disorder as well, because there's just so much external noise. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. Is a lot of videos and shows and movies I can't watch if the
Yeah.
music is too loud in the background. It's
Mm-hmm.
overstimulating, and it's like you can't even focus on what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, I thought my hearing was going bad because my dad had the same type of hearing difficulty. And then I realized, no, it's not my hearing. I
Hold on.
just
Well, while she's there, I'll just mention too, your dad, he hated music because he couldn't hear the singing through the
Mm-hmm.
drums and the bass, the
Yeah.
guitar, and what else. And
Mm-hmm.
the only song, for whatever reason, the only song that he ever really liked was that song, "Run Around Sue." For whatever reason, he could pick up the singing through all of that music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and I thought your hearing problem was because of my drumming.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Well, that's why when he gets so loud, it's like I just have to, when he talks to our friend Jane Doe in Wisconsin every morning, I just have to come in the office here and shut the door. And even when I'm talking to you, Shyla is such a good kid. I want everybody to know. She calls me every morning on her way to work. But I mean, I just have to come in my office and shut the door because it's just so loud.
Mhm.
Strong.
It's overwhelming. And
Strong lungs.
but I'm
Large capacity.
Yeah.
I was gonna say at first when he was doing this,
No, only you. Only you, Kim. Oh, only you.
well, I don't know. I need it explained in English.
Oh, don't you love
And I
the
think
little
that's why
brain?
I have and I think that's why a lot of times I have problems, even doing videos, even though I don't write out a script, a lot of times I have problems with the English language because I haven't been diagnosed, but just being around you and researching and all this, I'm suspecting that I have a level of autism also because I've got some of the same symptoms.
Well, our growing up in a cult like Watchtower, our natural development as a human being has been suppressed.
Mhm.
Like we talk about some of the stuff that you've been learning on YouTube. One of the things that I've learned recently about myself is the Sigma male. And when and I take everything with a grain of salt. So I watch it all. And when I look at my life's course, even before we became JWs, I thoroughly loved studying, loved researching, and looking at my growing up as a young boy. And before we became JWs, it's like, oh, now I understand why I did this as a kid. And I understand why I did this because that's that Sigma male personality. And then, now that we've left the cult and I've been able to allow myself to develop who I was originally supposed to be on this planet, then it just comes forth. It just comes through even more clearer.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then when I look at some of the things that I've done in this community as a Sigma male, I can understand why people like Lloyd Evans hates me so much because we are their worst nightmare.
You're his kryptonite.
I'm his kryptonite. Yeah.
Yep.
And there again, there's a lot,
Mhm.
in this type of personality that needs to be taken into consideration. But when you look at your entire life's course, you should be able to see it. And then with everybody else, how much of your real personality, who you were meant to be in this planet, did Watchtower steal from you? And we'll probably all agree a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Frank. Hi, Evie. Merry Christmas.
Oh, hey,
Frank,
Evie Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Hey, Evie.
Yeah, long time no see.
Yeah. Wow, I haven't seen her for years.
Well, she actually quit doing videos years ago.
Mhm.
I won't get into why, but
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
Hello, viewers.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I
He
know.
did a video. Yeah, he did a video taking all of us out of context, and I
Yeah.
don't blame you.
No, not at all.
I'm surprised we can still put up with this, but
Oh,
Merry Christmas, everybody. The
yep.
thing
Merry
is,
Christmas.
like Frank the Blind Artist, he says autism and the post-traumatic stress disorder. We've talked about this before, but there is religious trauma
Yeah.
Mhm.
And a lot of the Christians don't want to admit it. But no
No.
matter what religion you are in, there is trauma because, and we all have some form of this trauma, whether it be, CSA, physical abuse, emotional abuse,
Spiritual abuse.
spiritual abuse,
Mhm.
psychological. And I mean, you look at those that grew up in Jehovah's Witnesses, and I've talked to others of other religions that grew up in religions, and same thing, there is a lot of trauma.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And a
Yep.
lot of people escaping cults don't want to learn to deal with it, so they just jump right into another cult because
Mhm.
that's their comfort zone. I
Yep.
I can't explain why people are comfortable in a fearful environment. I don't have any way to process it, how you leave one cult that's so indoctrinating through fear and then jump right into another one that's doing the same thing through fear. I
Well,
I, I just I can't process that.
yeah, well, and I don't know like all of the formal terms, but it's something to do with the human brain. Is like
Mhm.
the human brain would rather stay with something that's comfortable and known than something that could lead you to something that's better. So that's why like a lot of times with like especially abusive relationships, the partner will stay with the person who is abusive because it's what they're familiar with, and it's something that our brain does. And like I said, I don't know all of the technical details on it, but yeah, so it's really hard because you have to go against your comfort zone, and that is like one of the hardest things. Even like with me, you know doing stuff out of my comfort zone, like I know it's going to be a benefit to me, but there's still some fear and being scared. Like when I first started doing TikTok videos, like I was terrified. And now like going through it and doing it now, I'm becoming more comfortable. But like, and I'm not making videos with, staying with an abusive partner in the same category. Like they're completely different. But it's just the brain. The brain wants to stay with what it knows and what it's comfortable because it's like that survival mechanism.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I will put a link to your TikTok channel underneath this video
Okay.
on our YouTube, and I'll pin it to the top so
Oh,
that if anybody
thank
wants to
you.
go watch any of your TikTok videos. But, as far as the PTSD, it's post
Mhm.
traumatic stress. And you look back and it's like, oh my God, how did I get sucked into that? But, those of us that were raised in this cult, it's like, this is all you
You
know.
don't know any different.
Yeah,
And like
you
you
don't
said,
know any
there's a
better.
certain comfort level. But, as a small child, you take your parents' word of everything they tell you. I
Hmm.
believe my parents when they told me that I would not grow old in this system. Well, I just turned
Yeah.
60, and it's like, holy crap, you guys lied to me. I'm retired. I'm a so senior citizen age now.
Yeah.
Well, look at
I
that.
get discounts at the restaurant,
Yeah.
but it's like you promised me I would not finish school in this system. So, there's that's a lot to do with the trauma. It,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
I've had to apologize to you for several times for indoctrinating you, because it's like that was a real crappy thing to do, to promise you all these things, and it was a lie.
Hmm.
Well, just that last meal that I had with my own mother. She never grew up a JW. She was an adult, and then she was promised she'll never grow old in this system. And now that last meal 12 years ago, I'm going to grow old and die, and we'll still be in this system. It's like, yeah, you and me
Yeah.
both, because we've all been lied to, and we've all pushed that lie.
Yeah.
because we really didn't study, we really didn't research. We took everything at face value.
Bye, Evie.
Right.
Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us.
Thank you.
Frank makes a good point here. Being made to feel so much guilt and shame for just wanting to be a normal kid
Yep.
instead of going out in the ministry, going to conventions.
Yep.
I didn't want to go to meetings. I didn't want to go out in service. I didn't want to go to conventions.
Yeah,
Well,
53.
and especially now, knowing that I'm autistic, being forced to go out in service and go do parts on the Kingdom Hall and all of that, like that, no wonder I had anxiety, because being forced to do something that I was not comfortable doing, that was literally going against like who I am as a person, as an autistic person. And yeah, no wonder like I had all of these issues.
Yeah.
But I do want to mention though, there's actually a distinction now that's starting to happen. I don't know how much it's becoming widespread, but there's PTSD and then there's CPTSD. So it's complex PTSD, and that is more of like what those with religious trauma and PTSD have, is the complex, because it's not one instance of something that's traumatic. It's like long-term trauma. So, the trauma from, being in the cults and, all of the horrible abuses that people suffer, it actually then becomes complex PTSD. And there's a lot more psychological mechanisms that then start kicking in that cause a lot of the mental health issues that come with complex PTSD. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, and
And
actually
then
I actually only like really started finding out more about that when James was diagnosed with CPTSD.
yeah. And then, there's other things that can add to it, because it isn't just growing up at JW, but then if you
Right.
get like the physical abuse or CSA
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
anything like that, then it just adds to it. And everybody's saying thank you for making the distinction between the two,
Mm-hmm.
because a
But
lot of times we don't
don't take
understand
my
that.
word for it. Don't take my word for it. Go research it yourself.
Yeah.
Learn about it.
Yeah, research it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There again, today it's so simple to research. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's also easy to wade through where a lot of, through that muck and mire, because there is a lot of I don't want to say disinformation, but information that may not be particularly useful to you.
Mm-hmm.
But something in that information would be useful, and you don't know what you're going to stumble upon by researching the one topic. And, oh, wait a minute, I need to go look at this now because this was mentioned right here. I mean, it's just, everything is at your fingertips today.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for some reason, there's something about our family. And yes, James is Shyla's husband. Someone was asking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, James is Shyla's husband, our son-in-law. Our family has always loved research. Always. We've always enjoyed that.
Keep
and
talking.
Always learned. Okay. And we've always, loved learning. In fact, on Saturdays on our local antenna channels, there's it's called the History Channel. And I love that channel because every Saturday they have unexplained phenomena. And they cover a lot of different things. But this past Saturday was Secrets Revealed from the Bible. And it was really good because there was one thing I learned, and I always learn something. And I love that when I can learn something. I did not know, but according to that documentary, that show, they said that according to the ancient Roman calendar, December 25th was the ancients' winter solstice. So that's why Christmas started on December 25th. And it's like, oh, I did not know that. I'm going to have to go research that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's don't take anything at face value.
Yeah. So like, even though I, was watching a lot of videos of, other autistic neurodivergent people from TikTok, I made myself a binder. Like, and this is all of like the research that I printed up about autism. And, I took some I did some like free self-assessments that there's like, hold on, words. There are free self-diagnosis tests that you can take, and they're actually pretty accurate. And when I went in for my formal diagnosis, I took this folder and handed it to them, and they're like, wow, thank you. And like they're flipping through it, and it's like, we really don't have to actually test you because like you've done all the work, but they still had to test me, with their measures and stuff. But it was not just like, oh, well, I think I'm autistic, and then suddenly I'm autistic. No, like it was months of research and, taking every self-diagnosis I could find on the internet. Like I found like a binder, that I got off of like another neurodivergent person had made like this binder and like checklist, and you could make notes and all of that. And yeah, it's not it wasn't just like, oh, I'm autistic and that's it. Like it was the research that went behind that. And that's just how I am with pretty much everything, that it's like I start researching it. And you have
Yeah.
to because like there's just like, sorry, like I said earlier, there's so many people out there with their own agenda, and some of their agendas are not nice. Like their agendas are to mislead people, and I'm not going to be misled again like I was in Watchtower. I'm not taking anything at face value, because like even when somebody tells me like, oh, this thing happened and da 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 da, I'm like, okay, cool, thank you for letting me know. And then I keep my eyes open, I watch, I observe, and I research as needed. And you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So true.
And it's like, oh, you deceived me once, shame on you, but I won't be deceived again because then it's shame on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, for all the comments and the love, and Merry Christmas to all of you. Yes.
Yeah.
Is the chat blowing up?
Artsy Kim, yeah, it's so true. Watchtower tells you to research other religions, but not their own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and that's a very good point, because as soon as somebody says like, oh, you don't need to look that up, or you don't need to know about that, or you don't need to research it, or just believe me, or just trust what I'm saying, red flags and like warning bells are going off like, yeah, no, I'm going to definitely research it now because I don't trust you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, one of our favorite articles is a paragraph that said where Watchtower, it was in a Watchtower magazine. It says, you don't need to do research because we have brothers that do that for you. And it's like, why didn't that wake us up?
Because we weren't ready to wake up at that time.
Yeah. Exactly. Because we were in it for so long, we can see the control mechanism and the fear now. The fear that they all instill in people. And, just like the Bible bullies telling us we're going to hell because he speaks against the Bible. And it's like, well, if your faith is dependent on that book, then obviously you don't have a good relationship with the source of all.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, our spirituality is stronger now than it was before. But we don't believe the book.
Yeah.
We try to have a relationship with the source of all. And a lot of people think we're atheists, and we're not. Our DNA alone proves that. I mean, let's face it.
Well, and one of the other comments that you hear a lot, especially with what I'm doing in Jane Doe too, is you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But what if the baby himself is Satan? What if that baby himself grows up to be the guy in Revelation that kills everybody with the sword coming out of his mouth? What if he's that guy? At the end of the 1,000 years, he hands that kingdom back over to his father, and then he lets that little devil out of the dungeon to wreak havoc again. Well, why not throw those babies out with the water? Because they're not doing anybody any good other than just creating or just still instilling fear in people's minds.
Yeah. See, and that is another huge red flag to me when people won't let you question.
Yeah.
If you, because I mean, and it's even like not even just religion, but it's even just with regular like secular society. They don't want you questioning anything. And if you question them, like they don't like it. And it's like, well, I have a legit question here. Like, answer it for me. And they don't like that. And it's because they can't actually answer it because they're just parroting the programming that they've learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we've
correct.
noticed too that a lot on social media like to pigeonhole you. They like to take you and put you in this little spot, you know, oh, this is what you are, and put a label on you. Well, they kind of get upset when they don't know where to put you in the pigeonhole. And it's like, oh,
keep them guessing.
They try.
keep them guessing.
Yeah.
Is labels are meaningless. Yeah. I mean, yes, I've been using the label, all morning about, I'm autistic, but it's just a word that I'm using to communicate to you and everybody that's watching right now that, this is part of who I am, but I myself don't actually view myself as being like autistic with a disability. And it's because I despise labels. That happened like years ago. I hated being labeled and feeling like I had to have a label to validate my existence in this world. And I don't need a label to validate that I have the right to live in this world.
Yeah.
I don't like labels. I hate it. And when anybody like asks me like, oh, what do you believe? Are you religious or whatever? I say I'm a spiritual person. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm spiritual. I have my spiritual beliefs.
Yeah. And you're hearing that more and more throughout society these days because people have just, for the most part, can see through the control mechanism of religion and what a money-making scheme it is.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I'm going to give you a good example. So when I was going through my testing, one of the very first appointments, like they wanted to know what pronouns I go by. And my answer was, now this is me. This is just me. I respect whatever pronouns anybody wants to use. I don't care. It's you and your body, your meat suit. You can identify yourself however you want. So for me personally, though, when they asked, what pronouns do you prefer? I said, I don't care. Well, what do you mean you don't care? I said, I don't care because the he, she, they pronoun doesn't encompass who I am as a person. It's limiting, is what I told this person in the interview. And so there's like, okay, well, for the sake of argument, how do you identify? I'm like, okay, fine. For the sake of argument, female pronouns, whatever. I don't care is how I answered that. So when I got my report back, there was a little blurb in there about me being defiant because I didn't want to.
See?
I was defiant because I didn't want to label myself with a pronoun. And that is really how I feel. Our English language does not have a pronoun that I find acceptable to describe who I am in this meat suit.
Because you wouldn't acquiesce to their control mechanism.
Yeah.
So now
I don't care. Me personally, I don't care. Now, I also respect others that they do care. And, I obviously will do my best to respect, whatever pronouns they want to use. But for me personally, I don't care.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, it goes along with the labels. And
Yeah.
it's like, and I don't care what a person chooses as a lifestyle. I really don't. I don't even care, that Lloydie went to Thailand. I don't care. But then when, you want to attack me for something, it's like, and you want to speak for a person, a certain
Mhm.
group or something, it's like, you've lost your freeness of speech.
Yeah.
So, but as far as anybody's lifestyle, I don't care. I don't care what labels they want.
Okay.
I don't care
Yeah.
about gender.
But
And
don't
it's
try
like,
to put those labels on me. Like, are you Christian? Are you Jewish? Are you, whatever, what political party do you identify as? Like, I'm done with labels. I just want to
yeah.
be me. That's it. Me.
And that would be so much easier and would avoid so much fighting in this world if people would just accept one another. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, if you identify as this, fine. I will respect,
Mhm. Yeah.
your beliefs and your feelings and, you as a person. I love you as a person,
Yeah.
but don't try to control me.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I
that's
mean,
where I have,
especially with that other person that you're mentioning, it's that sense of justice. When you cause
yeah,
harm to other people, and then, you are literally bashing everybody, and then you go do stuff like that. It's that autistic sense of justice that it's like, oh, you no, I'm not standing for that.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And so, and I just feel so sorry for the kids. It's the little
Hmm.
innocent kids. That's who
Yeah.
I always feel sorry for. That is,
Yeah.
my priority of who I feel sorry for, even with the
Yeah.
CSA and everything. It's like, I don't care what those eight, nine,
Hmm.
whoever the clowns are in, the headquarters of Watchtower, the governing body. I don't care about them because
Hmm.
they're the ones that are manipulating people. They're the ones manipulating Jehovah's Witnesses. It's the kids I feel sorry for.
Yeah.
I know what they have to go through. I know the nightmares they're having dreaming about Armageddon because I've been there, done that.
Yeah. I
And
was
it,
that kid
you know,
too.
yeah, and the CSA and physical abuse, it's the kids I care about.
Yeah.
So,
Well, because the
if
thing is,
anybody wants to say I have an agenda, well, that's my agenda. Is it's the
well,
kids I and the innocence that I, you know, have such a strong feeling about.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I'm not
And
saying that everybody with an agenda is wrong, because I mean,
Yeah,
I have an agenda with doing the stuff that I'm posting online, but, it's just some others' agendas are not so nice. They're meant to
control.
purposely mislead or to, scam people out of money.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So
We've been at it for an hour and 38 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think,
I'm getting hungry. What are you gonna
Yeah.
make me
I was
for lunch
actually
today,
saying,
Norman?
yeah, I was actually going to say I'm starting to get pretty tired and overstimulated, so I'm going to need to go here.
Mm-hmm.
but thank you so much for joining us, Shyla, and
Mhm.
catching us up on everything. And I know there's many in this community that love you and have
Mhm.
been watching your journey for the past 10 years. And, I still get emails and messages saying, hey, how are your
Mm-hmm.
kids?
Yeah.
And
Well, thank
so we
you.
appreciate you coming and, on here. And this won't be the last time. This won't be
No.
the last time.
No. Well, heck, would be like you said, an hour and almost 40 minutes, and not one glitch.
Yeah.
Not one glitch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
There
I
was
mean,
just
internet.
one little bit on my end where it kind of froze quick and then it picked right back up, but it wasn't really that bad. But I don't know if that
Yeah.
was just on my end.
Yeah, we haven't seen any glitches or, dropping audio or anything. So that's
Yeah,
good.
it's good.
Good
Yeah,
internet.
yeah.
Worth every penny.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
So thank you
awesome.
everyone for joining us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. We love you all.
Yeah.
Oh, someone just mentioned the top of the socks.
Top of the
Their
socks.
their grandson, their grandson
Oh,
must be autistic.
ah, okay. Try this. Turn the socks inside out. Turn the socks inside out because actually I have to wear my socks inside out because the seam where the toes go is where my sensory issue is. Not so much the top of the sock, but where the toes go. So try turning them inside out.
Yeah, that little seam cuts into the top
Yep.
of your toes, especially if the end of your shoe is tight. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think it's an autistic thing.
Yeah. Well,
There's nothing wrong with that.
and this
There's
might be
nothing wrong with turning your. Oh, I was just gonna say, there's nothing wrong with turning your socks inside out.
no. And actually, this is probably a little TMI, but I also think it's very important because underwear are not supposed to hurt. I didn't know that, and I've been suffering with, sensory things with underwear like my whole life. And yeah, it's just now that I'm finally getting some sensory friendly underwear. So that's another one that, I've been having issues with as an autistic person is the underwear.
Yeah, that
Hmm.
elastic digs in, to your skin
Hmm.
sometimes. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're making new autistic friendly underwear.
Yeah. And there are actually sensory friendly socks that you can buy. They're on the pricey side, which I think is disgusting because they shouldn't be more expensive. But we're just kind of stuck with that right now. I wish somebody would just do like affordable, sensory friendly, clothing. Cause yeah, that's clothing is a big challenge for me.
Yeah, I go for comfort
Hmm.
anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't
And
worn a dress since we've been at the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
And like it's interesting for me because I'm actually finding that men's clothes are more sensory friendly for me than women's clothes. I don't know what it
Cool.
is. I don't know if it's the cuts or the fabrics. I don't know, but yeah, men's clothing is actually better for me.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree because they're cut a little bit larger, and for
Mhm.
some reason my arms are longer than the average woman, and women's sleeves, are usually only up to there on me, and
Mhm.
so I like the men's to where it goes all the way down to the. I know
Yeah.
it's weird. We're weird, but we
Yeah.
just like things a certain way.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and it's comfort and it's the sensory friendly stuff now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Socks inside out.
socks inside out. Yeah. Who would have thought? And ketchup on eggs. Yeah, I'm that person. I gotta put ketchup on eggs.
Yeah, you never used to have like ketchup on eggs.
Well, because everybody would give me crap if I put ketchup on eggs. Like, oh, why are you doing that? Ugh. Well, now I just don't care because I like ketchup on eggs, and that's my
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for everybody who was in the chat. And
Hmm.
we appreciate everything. We appreciate all your love and support. Very much appreciated. Um, Thanks for taking time out of your schedule. And thanks,
Yeah.
Shyla, so much for joining us. And
yeah,
you'll have to go back and read the chat because there was a
yeah,
lot of love
Yeah.
and support for you.
yep. I
So,
will. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the love and the support, and yeah, I'm yeah, hopefully you'll like the stuff that I'm going to be making and writing. And, like I said, some of it right now is kind of crap according to how I view it. But I think once I get my book published and out there, I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but thank you
So
for joining us, and thank you for letting me brain dump about, what I've been going through, and, the autism and all of that, because it truly was like life changing, and it still is, because, James and I are still having to unmask together. But I just want to end by saying that, like, him and we're doing better than we ever have been. Um, him and I have been together 13 years now, and like, him and I together as a couple, we've never been happier. I mean, it's just, some days I'm just like, how is this even possible? And
yeah,
just allowing each other um to, be who we are, and, just trying to get through this life the best that we can. And maybe next time I'll talk about our our sensory safe words. That
Hey,
one's
yeah.
actually it's a funny story, but, that maybe we can do next time. Um,
next.
but yeah, but, just thank you. Thank you for giving me this space to share this stuff with you.
Yeah, and it gave me an opportunity to try out having people join us for a live stream. So
Mhm. Sky's the
Yeah.
limit now.
I know it.
Yeah.
I know
There'll be
it.
no stopping us now.
A
Nope.
whole new world has been opened up to us, and now I like it because we can interact with those in the chat and who are with us here. It's like we're all sitting
Mhm.
here in my office, and so that's what I really like, is the chance to interact with so many, because it's difficult trying to keep up with my emails
Yeah.
and on
Mhm.
Twitter.
Oh. Mm. I don't know if they froze or I froze. All right. Well, I don't know if they froze. So bye, everybody.
Oh, I will be back on.
Oh, one.